After a tough series in Milwaukee, the Phillies leave that in the past. They move on to a trip to Queens for the weekend, a 4-game series against the Mets. Last time they will be playing them this season in the regular season. Could see this team in the postseason, but nonetheless, huge series this weekend. Tyler Mroz, Heat Ratio Sports, Phillies pregame show. We talked about last night. We got to mention it. Phillies lost the series against the Brewers on a walk-off, a 2-1 loss. Just a tough game, but let's forget about that. Let's move on to tonight's game. Taijuan Walker is getting the start in that number 5 spot. Not Colby Allard, interestingly enough. It's 3-6 for Taijuan, a 6.29 ERA. Did have 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen in his last appearance. I believe it was against the Mets too. And then Luis Severino, 10-6, a 3.77 ERA. Phillies got to see him in one of those games, one of the comeback victories they had. And I say one of because they had multiple. For the lineup tonight, nothing really surprising. It's just Cal Stevenson in center field, batting 9th. Brandon Marsh is back down to batting 8th, which is a little bit of a shocker. And then Bryson Stott's batting 6th. I don't know if I agree with that. I would probably swap them if I'm being honest, but JT at 7 I'm fine with. So yeah, the only thing I'm really little iffy about is Stott at 6 and Marsh at the 8 hole. I would try to switch that, but nonetheless. But no Francisco Lindor again for the Mets. Carlos Mendoza, the Mets manager, said that there's no timetable for his return. So he could be out for the rest of the regular season. And the Mets can't afford to lose their best player because they have 4 against the Phillies, they have 3 against the Braves, and then they have 3 against the Brewers. And they are currently neck and neck with the Arizona Diamondbacks for that second wild card spot. So Mets really need Francisco Lindor back, or they really need to step it up without him. But Luis Angel Acuna is starting for him. We talked about him last night. He has been very, very good for the Mets in his time replacing Lindor in the lineup. So he gets to start again tonight. Nothing too crazy of a lineup besides that. Jose Iglesias is batting 329 on the year. He's leading off for the Mets. And then you got JD Martinez, who does have a career 389 batting average off of Taijuan Walker. Yeah, not many guys have faced him a ton. Pete Alonso hasn't really done well against him. Yeah, and then the Phillies against Severino. Harper's 2 for 3, 2 home runs. That was the last game, the 2 home run game from him. Castellanos, 333. And then everybody else is either 0 for 2 or 1 for 2. But yes, moving on to the keys tonight. A lot of keys. It's always Taijuan Walker. Whenever Taijuan Walker starts a game, it's always him because ultimately it really depends on how well he pitches. Because, I mean, you look at the game he last came in. He pitched 3 innings of relief, scoreless innings, and the Phillies won that game. And then you look at the previous, 10, 11 games he was in, giving up 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 runs, and the Phillies lost all of them. So if Taijuan Walker can hold this Mets team to under 3 runs, I think the Phillies have a really good chance at winning. I don't think their offense is going to be dead again. I think it will be a slow start in the beginning, but I do think that the Phillies will ramp it up and get hot in the very end. But also, you snooze, you lose. Did it last night. 1 run. Did it the other night. You got lucky with the home runs the other night. So don't do it again. You have to wake up. You have to make sure you are hitting the bat because if you don't, obviously you're going to lose. But especially in a game where Taijuan Walker is pitching, I mean, there's a good chance with Taijuan Walker starting, he's going to give up 4 or 5 runs. So you need to be on your A game, but on the slim chance that he doesn't and he gives up anywhere from 3 runs to under that, and you score 1 run the entire game, you're completely wasting a Taijuan Walker start. You cannot waste these starts. And then the clutch moments, because the last time Phillies played the Mets, which was not too long ago, a couple days ago, 2 games, they came from behind and won. So the Mets are a tough team. They are vying for a playoff spot. In no means is anything guaranteed. They're even competing for a division title. I mean, they're only 7 games behind the Phillies still. So gotta come through. You gotta come through in those clutch moments. And what better option, Bryce Harper, who we'll get to in just a. Well, let's get to him now. Let's see what we got for the triple play today. I'm doing this live again because yesterday went 1 for 4, I think, but the other day we did it live. I have some I've picked out already that I just want to double check. As it gets closer to game time, odds start switching, and you don't want that to happen. So Taiwan Walker's over under for strikeouts is currently 3.5. It's plus 145 that he gets the over. Now, I kind of like this. And you might call me crazy, but I do kind of like it. I mean, he hasn't struck out more than 3 since his first game back from the IL. But I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to be a Taiwan Walker revenge game. So Taiwan Walker over 3.5 strikeouts at plus 145. Is that a little bit of a stretch? Probably. But you know what? You got to take risks. You got to live like Larry. Over 3.5 at plus 145. I believe that's what it is. Plus 140. Yeah. Over 3.5 at plus 145. And then you look at the bats. I do think Bryce Harper is going to have a good game. So what's his total base for 2+ total bases? It's at minus 110. So plus 185 for 3+. I'm gonna do it because I still think he's gonna have a good game. So Bryce Harper to get 3+ total bases. Bases at what is that? Plus 135, we said? Plus 185. So decent odds there. So all plus money so far. Then I like to throw in a Mets one. Luis Severino. What's his line at? I think it was 5.5. Oh, 5.5. And you look at his last game against the Phillies, which was literally his last start. He struck out 5 guys, 8, 5, 9, 5. So he's been inconsistent with his strikeouts. It's either 5 and then it's either 8 or 9. Yeah, I think he bounces back. I think he gets that over because I do think the Phillies offense is going to come out slow. So I think he's going to get a lot of strikeouts in the beginning of the game. So over 5.5 at plus 105. El Severino, over 5.5. Okay, is what is that going to plus 105. Plus 105. So here's what we got for tonight. Taiwan Walker and Luis Severino over on the strikeouts, and then Bryce Harper 3+ total bases. I do think that he is going to go yard. Bonus bet. Let's see what we got for home runs. I do like the Harper, but like I said, I'm not going to put my eggs in one basket again. No other guy on the Phillies does have a home run against Luis Severino. You know what we're going to do? We have fun with these. So let's go to a random number generator, and we're going to type in 1 through 9, and whichever number it lands on is going to be the person in the lineup we're going to pick. So if it happens to be 3, it'll be Bryce Harper. So let's do this. 9, Cal Stevenson home run at plus 1,300. So that is the bonus bet for tonight. Cal Stevenson home run. Hey, number generator spoke. So if that's right, maybe we'll start using the number generator more often. So plus 1,300 for Cal Stevenson. So there we go. Again, Taiwan Walker and Luis Severino over on the strikeouts. Bryce Harper to get 3+ total bases. And then let's see if the number generator actually knows a thing or two about ball. Cal Stevenson to get a home run at plus 1,300. I mean, I do really like Cal Stevenson. 1 for 2 against Severino in that last game. 286 on the season. Hasn't had a home run yet, but according to the number generator, he's going to get it tonight. And I kind of like that, honestly. With those odds, that's really good odds. So, again, both pitchers overs on strikeouts. Harper to get 3 total bases, and then Cal. We got to come up with a nickname for him. Unfortunately, I think he's getting sent down, but I do think it could be Cody Clemens, although I think the Phillies might want that infield depth, especially with Sosa and Bohm coming off of injuries, but I would really Really love if the Phillies kept Cal Stevenson on this roster, and maybe even for the playoffs, although I do think that is unlikely. But Cal Stevenson does he said it best against I think it was the game against the Mets where he had that clutch hit. He said, "I don't get much playing time, but when I do play, I give it all. I give it my all. I do my best." And he's been providing for the Phillies, doing his job just right. So a reminder, go to Win Daily, use that promo code HEAT, get the scratch and save. You could get a year for the price of 6 months. You never know. So go to Win Daily now, sign up, and use that code HEAT. Now, second half, we always talk about the playoff trackers. And right now, Dodgers, they are playing the Marlins. They are only a game back, so they could be tied with the Phillies tonight for the number 1 seed. Dodgers were winning 2-1 last time I checked. It's 4-1 now. Lovely. Bases loaded, 1 out. Ooh, yeah, that's not great news for Phillies fans and Marlins fans, but nonetheless, it's looking like the Dodgers will be a half of a game back from the Phillies tonight. But if the Phillies lose, they will be tied. But the Phillies black. I don't know. Okay, should be fine. I do. If Adam, if you're watching, I do have that Walmart Wi-Fi. I'm in the top corner of my house. Yeah, the Wi-Fi not great here, but the Brewers, who the Phillies just saw, they are playing the Diamondbacks in a 4-game series. Huge, huge series for both of these teams. Brewers already won the division, so they know they're going to be a top 3 seed. They are just fighting for that number 1 seed. They're only 3 games back, and they are only 2 back from the Dodgers. Could be 2.5, could be even be 3 after tonight, but nonetheless, huge series for both teams. You mentioned Diamondbacks. They're tied for the second wild card spot with the New York Mets. So they're also fighting to stay in the playoff race because the Braves just had a huge victory over the Reds. Chris Sale just further cementing that he's the National League Cy Young. My dad, shout out to Frank Mroz, because he always says whenever Frank the Tank Fleming throws out a first pitch for a team, they always lose. And he threw it out for the Reds today, and the Braves obliterated them. So 3-0 on the year with those bets so far. And the Padres, they're off today. They do have the White Sox for 3 games. Dylan Cease, I don't think he's going to be pitching because he just pitched the other day. But they're 2.5 games up on that first wild card spot. Looking like they'll get it. Dylan Cease, what a pickup it was for them. And they traded away Juan Soto. Excuse me. My dog, Abby, is being so rude again. So rude. She won't stop until I let her in. Yeah, fresh. She's very, very fresh. But the Padres traded away Juan Soto in the offseason, and they still end up making a wild card spot most likely. So good on them for being able to do that. And then we talked about the Mets and the Braves. So let's get to the not just Philly moments of the night, because here at Heat Ratio Sports, we're Philly born and bred, but we're not just Philly. That's not what the sports world is. Bo Bichette played 1 game after coming off the IL. That he was on it for like a month and a half. And then he finally came back, and now he goes back on, seemingly ending his season. Blue Jays weren't really doing anything anyway. He's been a trade target candidate for the better half of a year now. Blue Jays were disappointing last year. They were disappointing this year. There's rumors that he may be linked to the Dodgers, but they did trade for Kevin Biggio. So they did trade for a Dodger shortstop, just was not Bo Bichette. And speaking of out for the year, Tyler Glasnow. This is huge news for the Phillies and for the rest of the National League, because the Dodgers ace is now ineligible to come back until Game 3 of the NLCS. So that is a huge stretch if the Dodgers are even going to make it there, because they haven't made it, I believe, since the year they won the World Series, if I'm remembering correct. Oh, no, Braves beat them in the 2021 NLCS, but 2022, it was Phillies Padres, and then last year it was Phillies Diamondbacks. So Dodgers haven't made it in 3 seasons, and that's when their ace could potentially be back. That's just the earliest he can come off, and no guarantees on if he's even going to be ready by then. So Tyler Glasnow could be out for the rest of the whole season. Definitely out for the rest of the regular season and most of the playoffs. Both Yankees and Guardians clinched the playoff spot. Guardians did not clinch the Central yet. No, they're 6.5 up, so they'll clinch any day now. Yankees are only 4.5 up on the Orioles, but they were back and forth the whole year. But the Orioles 3-7 in their last 10. They have really struggled. They just designated for assignment Craig Kimbrell, who was awful for them. So likely they're still going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to win the division, looking like the Yankees will. Astros 5 games up on the Mariners for that division, so they should be clinching fairly soon. I think the Phillies, if they win this series, I think even if they split it, I still think they win the division. Yeah, I think it's if they win 2, I think that's it. Because after the 4 games, then they have 6 more after this. So yeah, as long as they split it with the Mets, I do think they win the division. So just win 2 games. That's all you need to do, Phillies. Brewers clinch the Central. Dodgers are only 3.5 up on the Padres. Padres have been hot recently. So that race is far from over. So we'll see how that develops. And then Thursday Night Football tonight, it is Jets versus Patriots. I don't know if Tony's going to come on do his jigsaw picks, but he usually does that. So make sure you're pressing that notification bell because you'll get notified when we go live. And he's been hitting on some bets. So make sure you're checking him out. The jigsaw is back. So always fun to watch him. Aaron Rodgers going up against Gerard Mayo. I didn't say Jacoby Brissett because Jacoby Brissett's not really a big name. Patriots don't have any big name guys. Christian Gonzalez, very underrated, has been phenomenal throughout his rookie season last year and his season so far this year. But Jets are -6.5 right now. Let's see. Let's do a Mroz parlay, the Stay Fresh parlay of the day. Let's do a touchdown score. I don't know if I'll do a parlay. Here's what I'm going to do for the Thursday night games, whatever other games on these pregame shows. I'll come on and I will give someone who I think could score either 2 touchdowns or maybe it's a defensive player. So let's try that because Patriots rushing offense looks great. Ramondre Stevenson to get 2+ touchdowns at +800. I like that. So type that in. R. Stevenson 2+ touchdowns +800. All right. Add that. Boom. So Ramondre Stevenson of the Patriots has been bell cow, really. He's been awesome for the Patriots this year. 2+ touchdowns tonight, +800. We saw James Cook get 3 last week on Thursday Night Football. So why not again to get 2? Right? You like that? You like Ramondre Stevenson? Yeah, I do too. But I don't know if there's going to be a post game. So as always, I say press that notification bell because you'll get notified when we go live. So appreciate you tuning in tonight. Hopefully I'll see you for the post game. Phillies play on Fox tonight. John Smoltz is commentating again. Don't like listening to him. So many of you Phillies fans would likely turn on the radio because this booth has been criticized because last time it was Phillies Braves and it was just all a bunch of Braves interviews and there was no Phillies. But interestingly enough, all the games in this series have different TV providers. Like tonight it's on Fox, tomorrow it's on Apple TV, Saturday it's on NBC Philly, and then Sunday it's on ESPN. So Phillies are kind of all over the place in this series. But first pitch at 7:15. We'll see if there's a post-game show. If not, I'll be on here tomorrow for the pregame show. So have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the game. Stay safe. And as always, stay fresh, my friends.